Okay, so this video is gonna be short before I start. Like 19 minutes short if you base on my video length on my recent uploads. C. Color black, blue, mint and orange with orange being the main color of the brand. M. Material plastic. F. Finish black and mint finish and eggshell-like texture, blue and orange finish and texture of faux leather. Now that's the subsidiary brand of Nothing, CMF. And this is the CMF by Nothing Phone 1. Through this review, I'll be shortening the phone name to CMF 1 to keep it simple. Since CMF mainly focuses on design, we'll start with, you guessed it, design. This is a budget phone and there are budget phones out there with premium materials. But you have to find them because they're rare. The CMF 1, like most budget phones, are unapologetically plastic. But as we all know, there are ways of making plastics. So in this regard, they chose two ways. So the first way is to make plastic feel like an eggshell with black and mint. The second way that they chose is making it feel like faux leather. Now this is supposed to be an orange CMF 1, so the orange color does follow the faux leather back. The other color that came in that texture is blue, but we'll focus on mint and orange for today, and you'll see more of the orange later on. Now both the blue and orange, though featuring the faux leather back, has its sides finished in matte with all colors featuring metal power buttons and volume keys and metal camera deco, which is also different depending on the back panel you get from the phone. The orange one has a smaller camera hole that covers it over, while the mint one has a larger camera hole that doesn't cover it. So the blue and orange also does feature embossed logos with relevant FCC labels, while the green and black has those printed on the backs. So depending on the finish of the CMF, the thickness and the weight of the back panels also varies. And if you find it hard to open the back panels, try from the top of the phone, which I find it works better. Now, as many of us observed, the CMF one has a deco of a dial on the back of the phone. There are volume buttons on the phone, so this isn't a volume dial. We'll talk about this later. Alright, so while filming, I did something really stupid. I think it's what I did, but I broke the accessory point of the CMF one. So I asked Nothing about it. This is not under warranty. Let that be clear. Repair cost is 160 SGD, so that's around 120 USD, which I find is acceptable. Don't judge me yet. The reason why I think it's acceptable, even though it's like it's like about to be the price of the phone, is actually because this is an OLED display, and not just that. You also need to change the OLED with the frame, because it is the frame that is actually broken and it is glued to the OLED of the phone, which I find to be a pretty lousy design. I hope they could maybe introduce a better modular accessory point replacement, but as of now, the CMF one is actually built to have the accessory point as the frame of the phone, so it makes it extremely hard to just replace that faulty part, which I can foresee there'll be a lot of damage done to it, because attachments are attached to the CMF, are attached to that part of the phone. I guess I'll document the repair experience. You just need to inform them via WhatsApp, and let me choose a phone that I can fall back to. So this is my CMF one. So if I'm gonna send it in for repair, let me choose. So there's these two, right? There's the SE, which has the A15. There's the S21, which is better at everything with the same performance. So which one do I choose? I think I'll choose the 21. Let's go. So I need to go all the way over here from Woodlands. Sian, but okay, whatever. Let's go. Oh my god， 几人一下的行。唉，小众品牌，小众品牌。Almost there. Oh my god. It's damn sad. Whatever. Let's get this done and over with. Oh my god, this place is damn ulu. What the hell is this? This is damn ulu, I said. Need to go level 5, right? I also don't know. Whatever. Okay. Okay. Right here. Guess what, people? They gave me a 1-to-1 exchange of a nothing phone. Oh my god, it's a new phone. This is actually a new phone. Good service? Nah, that's great service. Okay. I gotta go back home, set this up, and I should have a good new phone. Oh, and they have to send in the whole set back. That's why this new phone doesn't come with the SIM card tray and the accessory point. But it should if I didn't have the mint one attached. So let's go back home now. They also did mention that this is the first known case in Singapore, so yeah, it's a user error now. Anyway, all for me, grog. Oh, and then I talk a lot of cock, right? 走错路 cock lah, it's over there. The phone looks pretty slim as well, and I do think the metal buttons add on to the beauty of the phone, alongside the exposed screws. Design is subjective, so some may not like it, but I really love the design of this phone. Was told by someone that the phone looked like a freaking toy, but I still love it anyway. Because of its flat side as well, gripping it feels like grabbing scissors from its blade, so yeah, ergonomics. All is well from the back until take a look at the front of the phone. If the iPhone SE3 can grow a beard with its chin, the CMF one can grow a bum flap. For those who don't know, may think that this is an LCD, and take a look at it next to the iPhone 11. But 6.67-inch OLED that's 1080p with a PPI of 395, effective pixel density of 319.95. I suspect this is a Visionox made display, but I have no way of confirming it. Now look, Visionox makes great displays. The Nothing Phone 1 and 2 are Visionox panels and they do look great, but here's the problem. The Nothing Phone 1 and 2 features what we know as a COP display, also known as a chip on plastic display. Like this, built on a flexible substrate so as to maintain the thin even bezels on the screen. Where's the problem? Because the CMF is an entry-level phone, so it features more of a COF, also known as a chip on flex. What this means is that the phone can't achieve even bezels like the flagships or even the mid-range Nothings could. The other issue is that the CMF one also uses a OLED panel built on a glass substrate, so if you use the phone off angle, you will notice obvious rainbowing effects compared to flexible OLEDs. And that's not all. One drop and a tiny crack on the OLED will render the whole display completely useless. I have experiences in that. That aside, silver camera rings surrounding the front camera, presumably to help with face unlock, as a reflective material kind of blocks the display from interrupting the camera. 2000 nits of HDR brightness and an in-display optical fingerprint reader that is on a manageable side ergonomics wise. I would wish that they would move it a little higher, but it's still fine. Now, presumably to allow for a special feature of the CMF, it has pretty obvious plastic chassis from front on, which makes the phone look less immersive. Colors are great on the phone. It does get relatively bright under the sun, though I must add, 2000 nits is not possible because that is reserved for HDR content. One thing I find interesting is the fact that the proximity sensor is not under the display like what most phones with OLEDs do. Even my previous A30s has it hidden under the OLED. This phone has it on the bezel, which I guess is fine because the bezels are thick and they have to cut costs as well. The puzzling part is how on earth did they get HDR into the screen of the phone? This is a budget phone, not a flagship. And they casually throw HDR on it like it's nothing because it's a nothing phone. Okay, I guess it's time to talk about the standout feature, the back. Should you feel like it, you can change your color of the CMF one by unscrewing the dial, also known as the accessory point. Then unscrew the 4 flat head screws and remove the SIM card tray and pry the back of the phone away from the back. Reverse the steps and you get the same phone with different color. Accessory point, you say? Yes, because this dial that I'm screwing in is an attachment point for you to attach modules to the back of the phone. What modules? Well, I spared no expense and bought all official models for the phone. 19 plus 19 plus 18 SGD and that's 56. 56 plus 339 for the phone. Since I bought it during a flash sale, it's $395 spent on the phone and it's a relevant ecosystem. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I did all of this at my own expense and I'm not monetized. If you decide to buy the phone though, use my affiliate link to buy it. Why? Because I'm finally an affiliate link for Shopee, so link below by the way. Okay, back to the modules. I got my lanyard first as I no longer need a case when I get one. That's what I feel. You can wear the phone sling bag-wise, Sniker style as well, or wear it like a bracelet. The lanyard part also features a clip that clips into the part that screws into the accessory point. So if you squint your eyes, that lanyard kind of looks like a dog lid. And it does feel pretty well built. I do notice the accessory point part looks different from the others. Could it be a batch issue? I don't know, but if you plan to use the lanyard accessory point all of time, prepare to face really heavy bottom rocks from the phone if you lay it flat on the table because it sticks out quite a lot. Next, the card holder. It is a two-part accessory with one part screwing directly on the back of the phone and the second part magnetically attaching to the first part. It also unlocks the phone's potential to support MagSafe accessories from a bloody iPhone. Yes, a bloody iPhone. I've tried attaching the card module on my sister's iPhone 15 and aside from it covering the bottom camera, it fits relatively okay-ish and the quality feels quite okay as well. Though I'm not sure if the hinge or lack thereof on the card attachment may break off with time, it really felt like it could. The attachment also features like a faux leather finish and has the CMF by Nothing logo embossed. And if you want to keep this MagSafe module on, you have to remove the 3 metal screws off the phone and screw in the plastic bolts included in the accessory box. And in this stage, both the stand or the lanyard may be attached alongside the MagSafe module. Goes to show that Nothing has considered everything when thinking of accessories to work with the phone. But keep in mind of the fact that the lanyard cannot coexist with the stand and vice versa. Finally, let's talk about something that I don't really recommend you all to get unless you know you use it lots, and that's a stand for the phone. Honestly, it's just a piece of plastic well built. But they do feature a mechanism similar to ratchets, so screwing it and unscrewing it from the accessory point of the phone just feels intuitive and just works. The perfect example of less is small. It can bear the phone's weight pretty well, landscape or portrait, and yes, you can move it away if it gets in your way. For 18 SGD, in my case that I paid for, I think $19 is its regular price, 19 SGD. Is this then worth it? It's up to you to decide. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really good stand, but is it really $19 good? Not really. Okay, all this aside, which is the selling point of the phone, let's talk about the phones itself. Because phones, no matter how well designed they are, when met with disgusting specifications, still make it a rubbish phone. So, this is a 8+128GB variant with other SKUs featuring 6+128 or 8+128. The cool part about this thing is that it supports up to 2TB of micro SD card expansion. I bought a 512GB SD card for my 256GB phone, and yeah, here's how powerful it feels like. It also means whatever I store on my S24 Ultra can be transferred over to the CMF one if I run out of space on that phone. Though I do need a cable or OTG to transfer the data, which I shall talk about the price of owning a budget phone. My S24 Ultra features USB 3.2 Gen 1, which is capable of data transfer speeds of up to 5 gigabits per second. Now my CMF one features USB 2.0, which means it can only support up to 480 megabytes per second of transfer. That's the hidden cost with budget phones. It's perfectly fine, unlike some iPhones that still stuck with USB 2.0. Inside the phone lies the MediaTek Dimensity 7300. It's a very good performer for its range, and using the phone in general feels very budget-like. Weirdly flagship for a phone that sells for 369 SGD, and this is a steal. The other phone I recall having the same SoC is the Oppo Reno 12 Neo. That's $609. Exactly the same performance for $240 more. Now, Xbox Legends Unite runs in full settings, really smooth. Daily navigation is quick and smooth, and despite it being a budget phone, what shocked me is it features a somewhat non-linear animation. Okay, look, the SoC used is pretty average. It ain't the 9400 Dimensity or the 8 Elite because it is paired with Nothing OS, which is a very light Android skin by the way. The experience is very promising at worst. It feels very snappy considering the limited power it has, and dare I say it felt indifferent to my S21 or even my S24 Ultra in daily use. Put the phones to the test and maybe, just maybe, you see the flagships like do its job better. Biometrics has been insanely quick with face unlock, supporting mask unlock as well. A certain OEMs doesn't allow mask unlock on phones. I don't want to name any names, but it reminds me of a certain Samsung. 说的就是你三星. It also features an optical in-display fingerprint reader as compared to an ultrasonic one, which it means that it doesn't get affected by screen protectors. This phone, matching the S24 Ultra, also features a 5000 mAh battery. Battery size isn't everything, but this phone lasts just as long as my S24 Ultra, which is just nuts. 33 watts of fast charging, which is fine I guess, because a certain OEM has 25 watts charging on their base model flagship. If you're wondering, it works well with Samsung's 25 watts plug. As for entertainment, as mentioned, 1080p OLED, Transient 19.95 after effective pixels per inch, 2000 nits of HDR brightness, which I still don't understand how they put on this phone. It's crazy. No headphone jack, mono speaker setup, which sounds okay for being a mono speaker. That's something for me to rant about later on the not so good part of the phone. Cameras. One part where cost cutting on budget phones prevail. So to cut the chase, how bad are the cameras on the CMF one? Actually, the only bad thing I see is no OIS. Remove the depth sensor and use the money saved to put OIS on the main sensor, you get a really good budget phone camera setup. Also, note to hold your CMF one steady when taking pictures since it has no OIS. Note that the tone that nothing chose for this phone's camera is more towards a warmer tone like the iPhones, and nothing seems to have the basics right when it comes to my untrained eyes. I find that pictures taken with this phone are adequate, photos look pleasant to me. So, where's the problem? This is the one question I tend to ask myself when using this phone, because that's a good thing. Phones shouldn't be this good at this price. Here's the problem. This is a picture taken by S21 and S24 Ultra and the CMF one. Both the flagships, I must add. Flagships took the colors that are color accurate as compared to the CMF one, and keep in mind this is a budget phone being compared to a flagship. But these are not the only two nitpicks for this budget phone. They are easily forgivable because it's merely restricted to its budget. But for videos, the CMF one maxes out at 4K 30. Using EIS, it does produce video qualities that are quite fine. I do love what CMF has done with the limited budget, but again, lack of OIS, and I would love to grade it as a flagship, but I can't grade it as a flagship because it's a budget phone. So grade it accordingly, I guess. So this is a video test of the CMF Phone 1 in 4K 630, sorry. Low light, as you can tell, it gets a little grainy, but I actually think it is pretty promising for a phone that is, you know, a budget price. Let's take a look at Junior, who I should disturb. Very cute. There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's not so bad. I would say it does better than photos taken on this phone. And the EIS, I think, is pretty okay as well. Like at least there is EIS in video recording. And this is my emotional support software that my sister bought for me from Jellycat, as you can tell. Not sponsored or anything. I call it grey because it's grey. Yeah, I really like this video. I really like the video on the CMF actually. For the price, I think it does a very good job actually. Oh, and I don't really give a damn about the depth sensor because the output is indifferent. If you inquire about the selfie camera, well, I didn't really test it because my face is way too ugly to test it. But yeah, it's a selfie camera that supports 1080p 60 recording. If you all really love to see my face, boom! Ugly face! But honestly speaking, 1080p 60 on the front-facing camera looks okay to me. Like, I don't see too much of a problem with this camera because I think it does a pretty good job at delivering what it is maxed out to be. And provided this is a budget phone, so yeah, honestly speaking, I really am okay with the results of this phone. Like, that's definitely great. And that is saying something, especially when I use a S24 Ultra as my main phone and my CMF one as my secondary phone, because it really is like a really good phone for the price. And keep in mind, I'm using a S24 Ultra. That is complete time for camera, because this has been the weakest camera lens I've seen on the phone. I scratched it within days of ownership, and it's a pretty deep one as well. Not a good look. Also, disabling Google Photos will break access to gallery in the camera app. So really hope they'll make it nothing gallery compatible, but I mean, they are a small company, so I'll accept that. I prefer the nothing gallery, by the way. And before I forget, let's talk about Nothing's star of the show, Nothing OS. The very day I unboxed the phone is the very day I received the update to Nothing OS 3.0. Nothing OS is what I believe saved this phone from its average processor because it is simply a lightweight UI. Take it as Lineage OS but nothing fight. Whatever it is, I like the appearance of it. Everything is built around being intuitive, no nonsense, straight to the point. The widgets are honestly beautiful and lots of thoughts have been put into place when designing them. Here's a little fun fact. The clock widget is based on the railroad clock design, and it being quad spaced from how the second hands move, the minute hand moves according to every single tick the second hand makes. And that is attention to detail. Almost like iOS spring drive power clock from Apple. The other cool thing I noticed is the fact that you get to tap off calendar pages on the widget, and Nothing has included something known as the Nothing News widget. Here's a small snippet of it in action.
This strategy would prioritise securing a top 6 draft pick, which the Sixers would keep. Otherwise,
by the nature of the widgets of Nothing phones being monotone, they have allowed you to an option to switch your app icon to the same monotone design or make it colourful. The purpose of it is supposedly to reduce screen time, which is valid I guess, but here's the thing. Some icons won't switch, so you have to download the icon pack from the Play Store and force it to be monotone. And that's when, if you have apps like Subway Surfers or Duolingo, may the hour rest in peace. Wait, he faked his bloody death. Never mind, those icons will look demonic anyway. With Nothing OS, big folders and big icons are possible, and you are able to launch the apps directly from the folder or add a cover to the folder. Then haptics. How does that? This is an example of an X-axis motor presented on the S24 Ultra. This is an example of a Z-axis motor presented on the S21. This is the masterpiece of the CMF Phone rotor. You know what? It's the eccentric mass rotor I give up. Now, to be fair, this is the better kind of eccentric mass rotor on phones because this is an example on the Galaxy A31. Loose? Yes. The good part of it is that it can be a makeshift vibrator with a screen. Valentine's Day gift, I guess? Compared with the CMF Phone's rotor for what it is, I'd say it's somewhat precise. Here's the tip. Don't set Gboard to 50 milliseconds and beyond. It will actually feel like what it is, an eccentric mass rotor. So here's my tune, 42 to 44 milliseconds if you prefer precision, and up to 48 if you like it to feel like an untuned 0809 X-axis. I forgot to add something. You can't actually set the intensity for the system haptics, so navigation wise, you're still stuck with the eccentric rotor feeling, unfortunately. So hope they include a haptic slider for the CMF one for the intensity, so that I can slide it down to 44 to 48. Honestly, for eccentric mass rotor, it's not that bad, it's just weak. Somewhat precise should you choose to tune its Gboard settings, but don't expect world-class feedback from the motor because it simply isn't. Speaker-wise, another factor, Nothing chose to sacrifice to keep the cost down. Now, to start, is a mono speaker setup, which can be a deal breaker, but honestly, it's adequate. It's loud and detailed, and if you set it at really high volume, it sounds sharp. So I guess common budget phone problems. Bass is fine, I shall add. Then there is the lack of NFC, because this phone doesn't have it. Here's the thing, okay, I use quite a lot of mobile payment, and having to take out my S24 Ultra when the nothing is in my hands already is a missed opportunity. Now, as a Singaporean, we do use quite a healthy mix of PayWave, which is Tap and Pay, and Pay Now, which is Scan and Pay. So maybe it isn't so bad here, since there's Scan and Pay to fall back to, but the way banking apps work here, it only works on one phone at a time. Pretty whack. Also, I'm not very sure how good antennas are on phones of this range, but I can tell you that reception on Wi-Fi isn't that good even compared to my S21. Even on the A31 from years back, so take note of poor reception. If you care about having stereo speakers, camera with no OIS, NFC, and software updates, this phone isn't for you. But if you're willing to put up with all these shortcomings and trust a new brand, this is a damn easy recommendation. Definitely the best 2024 budget phone, and if you're on the fence, I'd say maybe wait for the CMF 2. It might improve on the shortcomings of the CMF 1 as it currently has, since Nothing is one of the very few brands who still listens to their customers. The only one personal nitpick, which is totally fine since this is a budget phone, is the lack of wireless charging as well. I tend to wirelessly charge my phone when I feel like it, but remember, this is a budget phone, and lacking this is totally fine. Or they can maybe make like back panels with wireless charging, so it connects with toggle pins on the back of the phone they can add to support wireless charging, which I think will look pretty cool, and I don't mind paying more to get that feature on a budget phone. Then here's a suggestion: adding NFC and make the back panels NFC ready as well, so when I attach a different color back panel, the wallpaper will just change to match the back panel's color, which I think would be a pretty cool idea. I think Smartisan used to do that. Okay, conclusions. People always say Nothing reminds them of OnePlus because Cao Pei is the ex-CEO of OnePlus. 讲真的, Nothing reminds me of a brand that no longer exists. It's Smartisan. Now what I see in Nothing is exactly what I see in Smartisan. The same vision of making smartphones different, the same small team of people, the same transparency from their respective CEOs and how human they feel and they are, compared to other companies who always talk about how good their phones are. Nothing and Smartisan talk about how special their phones are. And then don't forget to make the phones great as well. They also don't mind talking about the process of making a phone, which shows off how transparent they are. Smartisan M1L. The phone was deemed as a disgrace by the CEO himself as a last resort to earn profits. And the Nothing CMF1 reminds me of that phone. This is a great successful phone. It's different, and not just that, it is pretty capable for its price. Unlike Smartisan, I do not wish nothing hits in the way of nothingness. I really want to see the change in the smartphone industry, just not the same boring slabs with zero character at all. The Phone 1, Phone 2, 2A, 2A Plus, and the upcoming 3A series is a perfect example of being different and being good at the same time. Nothing is the modern Smartisan, and I support companies that has a different vision, which is why I bought a Nothing. You won't see risky designs on phones anymore, unless you buy a Nothing. So, do Nothing. 加油! Special thanks to my sister for lending me this thing. Whatever it is, I owe her a drink. And whatever these are, I owe her a drink. Okay, let's do this. What the? Oh my god. Ended the recording. Why is my makeup so colorful? What did my sister do?